Let us talk about possibilities, abilities and permissions. Sounds like life skills, right? Well, in grammar we call them modal verbs. Modal verbs like can, could, may, might and must add layers of meaning to our sentences. They do not just state facts but also help in expressing what is possible, necessary or even uncertain. Modal verbs are mood setters of our language, helping us convey ideas with precision and intent. Ready to unlock the world of modal verbs? But before that, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. What's possible, necessary and uncertain? Modal verb holds all the answer. Hello students, today we will cover modal verbs. This part of verbs comes under verbs only. This is one type of auxiliary verb or we can say call a helping verb. So we will learn today in today's lesson about all the types of modal verbs that you come across in your day-to-day life. Let us see first of all in the first slide itself. When you look at the slide, what do you see? What do you notice? You see something written as recommend or maybe must have or a child helping a grandmother and someone having or thinking about a choice or maybe a possibility. So all of the thoughts which are flashed here on this slide are related to modal verbs itself. So let us see first of all what are modal verbs. So modal verbs are auxiliary or helping verbs used to express abilities, possibilities, permissions, obligations and other conditions. So this is what the role of modal verbs in grammar is. Then they include words like can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would. Although there are more than these which are mentioned on the slide here. Let's see, modal verbs are always followed. This is very important, followed by the base form of the main verb without to. So whenever you want to use a modal verb in a sentence, modal verb will be followed by the main verb. Example, let's see the examples. I can swim. So this is a modal verb and right after the modal verb we have used a main verb here. Swim is the main verb. So this is what the modal verb is. This is called the modal verb, whereas swim is the main verb or the base form of the verb. Let's see the second sentence, which is you must complete your homework. So when you see this sentence, must is the main verb. Is it? No. It is a modal verb. It is a modal verb and this is the main verb or the base form of the verb. Alright. So this is how we are supposed to follow the rule of applying modal verbs. Also here we saw this rule without to. So whenever you are using a modal verb, do not use to. So we did not write I can to swim or you must to complete your homework. That is not required, right? This is how we should use. Let us see this table where there are multiple modal verbs flashed here. I will leave you with this table. So please pause the video and read the complete table and then we'll continue. I hope you would have had a look at the table. Let us see. So this is the display of a list of key modals along with their primary functions. So can is used for ability and for permission. We will cover each one of them in detail by giving an example. By taking an example, could is for past ability or for polite request. May is for permission and possibility. Might is for lesser possibility or a possibility. Must is for obligation, a necessity, a prohibition or a restriction. Shall is for offering suggestions or for offers. Should is for advice and recommendation. Will is for future intention or simple future or certainty or willingness, determination. Would is for polite request and for hypothetical situations where you need to use would with if conditionals. So all of them, it is just a quick summary which you can keep it handy if you are making such a table, if you had made that table. Now let us do each one of them in detail. So first of all, modal verbs for ability. So we have various modal verbs for ability, can and could. So whenever you are telling any present ability, the thing which you are able to do at present, that is, this is when we need to use can. She can play the piano, right? At the present, she can play the piano. Could is for past ability. So if I say, I could swim when I was 5, then I am telling a past ability, something which I could do when I was a young child. So let's see the example here. He could run fast when he was young. So this is showing past ability. Let us see the next modal verb, which is modal verbs for permission. Again, we have various for permission. So we have can, we have may, we have might. So can is used for informal permission or for giving permission. We can say it is also used for giving permission. Giving permission, not seeking permission. Whenever you want to seek permission, you use may. We will use may whenever we are seeking permission. Here we seek permission and here we give permission. Let's see that with the example. You can leave early. You are giving someone the permission to leave early, right? So you will not say may leave early, instead can. Whereas whenever you are asking someone to come inside their office or cabin, so you will not use can I come in, because can is not used for seeking permission. Can feels like a slap on that person's face when you use that, because it is a wrong verb to be used there. May is to be used for seeking permission. So you will use may I come in. Something which you as a child, as a student, do repeatedly and should be kept in mind. Let's see the next one, which is might. Might reflects polite or tentative permission. So you can use might also for permission. In fact, you can use could also for permission. Might I ask a question or could I ask a question? Could, when we saw that table, could is for polite request. Specifically, when you want to ask someone something very politely, you want to be very humble while asking, then you use could. Could I get a glass of water? Could I get you a cup of coffee? So this is how we can be gentle while using modal verbs. So modal verbs basically designs and tells us what kind of language and tone we are using towards others. So if you want to be a good speaker, if you want to be a good writer, while keeping in mind that what you want to convey to the reader or to the listener, then you should have a good knowledge of modal verbs. So this lesson is for all, it's inclusive. Let's now see modal verbs for possibility. So possibility, again we have may, might. So you can see here various modal verbs performing various different functions. Could express possibility. Let's see may. May is for more certain possibility. It may rain tomorrow. So if you have 50% of something to happen, 50% chances are there for something to happen, then we use may. It may rain tomorrow. Could suggest a possibility but with uncertainty. So like if you have solved a question and you are not certain, you are not sure whether that solution is correct or not, then you can say this could be the solution. Alright, let's see the next one, which is might. Might is for less certain possibility. So she might join us later. When the person who's speaking is not sure of that condition, of that situation, then might could be used. She might join us today, or it might rain today since there are no clouds. But if you are saying such a sentence that it might rain today, reflects that there is very less possibility of raining today. So this is how we should use. Let's see the next one, which is for obligation. Again, for obligation we have 2-3 modal verbs. Must is one, have to is one, and should is also for obligation. Whenever you should know, you should realize your duties, then you use should. Let us see. Must and have to express strong obligation. So must is for internal obligation or rule. So whenever you are in any premises and you have to follow certain rules, then must is the word for it. Then must is something which we use for rules, for rule of law, for code of conduct, for legal languages. Must is frequently used. So you must wear a uniform, you must abide by the rules. So these are the things which you read frequently. The second one is have to. Have to is for external requirement. So we have to submit the report by Monday. And if must would have been written, it would not be wrong. It's just that the tone of the sentence would vary when you will use must, and have to will have a different tone. Let's see the next one. So which is modal verbs for advice and suggestions. Again, for suggestions, for advice, we can use should and ought. So let's see. Should is used to express advice or give recommendation, or to recommend someone something. So this is what and this is how we can relate this to our first slide, which was shown to us in the beginning, which was flashed with the recommend word. So recommend is the word for should. Should is the modal verb for recommendation. So whenever you are giving a suggestion or advice, let's see the example. You should visit a doctor, or you should obey your parents, or you should not pluck flowers from the garden. So these all are obligations. These are suggestions or advices. Let's see the next one, which is ought to, a slightly stronger suggestion. So ought to, it's a slightly stronger suggestion. Somewhere must, should and ought to, must, should and ought to are very close to each other. So if I have to tell you the degree of its usage, must is for compulsion or prohibition, ought to is for a stronger suggestion, and should is for a slightly less strong suggestion. So must is for rules, ought to is for telling a stronger suggestion, and should is just for obligation or duty. So let's see ought. Example of ought. Ought to, you ought to be more careful. So ought to, while we have done this in the second slide, we have covered that we should not use to after the modal verbs, but the beauty of ought to is that it is one modal verb only, ought to. There is no separate to in this. We have one modal verb, ought to. One more modal verb is there, used to. Used to, even that is a modal verb, students. That is not a regular verb. So ought to can be used. It's not going to be wrong. So you ought to be more careful, meaning that this is a strong suggestion that you should be more careful. You must be more careful, right? Let's see the next one, which is modal verbs for future intentions and offers. So you want to tell simple future, then we can use this modal verb will and shall. All right. So let's see. Will used to express a stronger intention or certainty. So whenever you have any strong intention, strong certainty of something to happen, then you will use will. I will call you tomorrow, right? Then more formal, this is formal for offers and suggestions. Let's see the example for shall, that how can we use that for formal offers and suggestions. Shall we go out for dinner? So this is how you can use for formal suggestions, formal advices. That shall we go out for a dinner or for dinner. Let's see the next slide, which is a comparison between will and shall. So for this, I would require you to go through it first so that we can discuss it thoroughly. So please pause the video, read it, and then let's discuss. I hope you have gone through the table. Let us now discuss the complete table in detail. So first thing is, let's see the type of persons, and then will is used for certainty also, willingness also, and intention also. While shall is used for offers, suggestions and formal obligation. Let's see example of each one of them. So first person singular. What is first person singular? It is just I. So whenever you are using I, you can use I with will to show a determination. Let's see with this example. I will go to the meeting. So this shows the determination or your intent or one's intent to go to the meeting. Let's see first person plural, we. So we is again used here for telling, expressing an intention. We will participate in the project. So it is telling the intention of that person or of that group that we intend to participate in the project. Let's see second person you. So you could be used with will to express certainty. You will receive the email soon. Then third person singular, we have he, she, it or any name. So with that we can use will to express an intention again. He will finish the report by tomorrow. Then third person plural, which is they will leave for the conference. This shows the future certainty, right? So this is how there is no compulsion for will and shall. In fact, the uses of both the modal verbs is interchangeable and it's reversible, that many a times will can be and shall can be used for telling determination, for expressing determination also, for telling intent also, for expressing a possibility also, willingness also. So a lot of possibilities are there for will and shall. So there is no hard and fast rule for will and shall, though there is one rule which should be kept in mind, which is that whenever you are using will and shall for simple future, so you should use will and shall in such a manner that shall is used with first person and will is used with second and third person. Second and third person. For telling simple future. For telling simple future. Alright. So this is the only thing which you need to keep in mind, that very frequently will and shall, they are used with first person shall and will is used with second and third person, meaning shall is used with I and will is used with he, she, it and you to tell simple future. While all these things which are mentioned here on the table remains interchangeable. Let us see now the usage of formal in telling offers or expressing offer or suggestion or formal obligation. So whenever we are using first person singular with shall, so it can show promise or an obligation. I shall complete the task. So this tells a promise. This shows a promise of the person. Next one, which is first person plural. We shall attend the event. What does this tell? Again, a promise only. Let's see the next one, which is second person. Second person, you shall follow the rules. So there is a formal instruction, a formal obligation, a command. Then third person singular, he, she, it or any name. He shall receive the award. So this is again a declaration, a formal or an official declaration. So here also he shall receive the award. So the other person who is speaking about this person, this individual, is sure that he shall receive the award. This kind of tells us the tone of that person who is speaking about this individual. Then third person plural, they shall be informed of the decision. Again, this is a formal obligation or duty. So this is all how you can use to in your write-ups, in your writing, while you are doing the creative writing. Let us now discuss modal verbs for challenges and necessity. Necessity and challenges. So when it comes to necessity, we can think of two modal verbs. First is need, right? And second is again need not in negative form. And for challenges, we can think of only one modal verb, which is dare. So let us see some verbs like dare and need can function as both main verbs and modal verbs. And the surprising fact is The fun fact is that both these verbs, need and dare, both act as a main verb also and modal verb also. So how to differentiate when you're writing that in a sentence or when you're using that in your spoken English, how to differentiate whether the verb that you have used is a main verb or a modal verb. So a very easy trick to know that is, which we have already learnt today in this lesson, is not using to. So whenever you will use to, whenever to will be there, that means it is being used as a main verb. And whenever to is not there, that means it is used as a modal verb. We will understand this more with an example. Let's see. So let's take the example of used. Used to express challenge or courage, often in negative sentences or questions. Let's see. So we'll take example of both as a modal verb also or as a main verb also. Let's see the example for main verb first. He dared to speak before me. So did you see? To is there, meaning that it is main verb. Dared here is the main verb. How dare you speak to me like that? Right? So here, is there any to? No. So this is modal verb. This is modal verb. Though knowledge of modal verbs is not really important for IGCSE English, but the usage of verbs is really important. While you are using that in your sentence formation, while you are writing your creative writing essays, then you need to know which one you are using for what, so that you can know that you are going to deliver this note, this tone to your examiner if you are writing such a sentence. Let us know the second type of verb, which is need. So need is used to express necessity. When used as a modal verb, it typically appears in negative sentences or questions, although we can use need in positive sentences also. That need is usually used in negative sentences if it is being treated as a modal verb, though it is used in positive sentences very much. It's not like that they are not used in positive sentences. Let's see the example of need as a main verb first and then the modal verb. So let's see the main verb example. I need to finish my homework. So whenever you say such a sentence, which you use very often, which you say very often, that I need to finish my work. So here is to, it means this is the main verb. You need not worry about the results. So this is again, there is no to, which means this is a modal verb, right? The modal verb. That you need not worry about your exams, you need not complete this task, or in fact need as a modal verb is used in interrogative sentences also. Like, need I ask you this? Need I submit my project? Need I talk to her? So this is how we can use it, that right after the modal verb you should use the main verb only, you should not use to. This is how modal verbs are formed. Let's come to the next one, which is modal verbs for hypothetical situations, which you would have used again very often. That would is used. Would is used for hypothetical situations, for if conditionals, is used for polite request or hypothetical situations. Let's see example for each one of them. For hypothetical situations first, if I were rich, I would travel the world, right? So this is how we use would, that this is a hypothetical situation, an imaginary situation. So you have to use would. Polite request, would you like some tea? So I will have this question from you, that can we use, may I use could here instead of would? Would it still make my tone the same of polite request? Comment down below, please. Okay. Let's now discuss the next one, which is the exercise. So for exercise, I would require you to go through it first and write the answers, and then we'll discuss it together. Please pause the video and go through the exercise. I hope you have gone through the exercise. Let us now discuss each of the sentences. Fill in the blanks with the correct modal verb. Let's see the sentences. She dash finish this by tomorrow. So a deadline is given. So tone is very clear of the sentence that this sentence is given by some authoritative person. So the authoritative person will not give the ability or permission, instead will show prohibition and restriction. This is why we are going to use must, not can. So she must finish this by tomorrow. Alright, let's see the next one. You dash want to reconsider your decision. So want to reconsider your decision means that someone needs to rethink about their decision. There is a possibility of something else also happening. So you would want to give other person the time to rethink about it. So in that case, there is no simple future, but there is a possibility, because will shows a simple future or a certainty or obligation, so various things, willingness, but here may will suit better. So you may want to reconsider your decision. Let's see the next one. They dash have been late because of traffic. So because of traffic is written, the reason is already given that the traffic was there. So they could have been or should have been. They should have been. They should have been late because of traffic. So there is a mandatory thing that this is a requirement. If there was traffic, that means they should be late. Then if I were you, you already know that this is a hypothetical situation, right? Imaginary situation. If I were you, I dash apply for the job. So you know the answer already. I would apply for the job. So this is how it was to be done. I would again request you to rewrite the answers if you have done anything wrong and ponder upon it. Then let's continue after you are done with it. Please pause the video. I hope you have gone through it. Let us now discuss the next exercise, which is of correcting the sentences. So the first sentence is you must to take the decision. So we are doing modal verbs, and what is the rule for modal verbs? That the modal verbs should be followed by a main verb, and that there should be no to. To needs to be deleted. So you must to take your medicine. You must take the medicine, right? You must take the medicine. In fact, instead of must to, you can write you have to. Alright? You have to take your medicine. Take the medicine. Or you should take the medicine. That will also be correct. There are multiple possible answers here. He can place the guitar. You already know what is wrong here. Whenever you are using modal verbs, you don't have to use verb plus s. Never. You just have to use the base form of the verb, which we have covered in the second slide. We have understood this rule that we don't have to use to, we only have to use the base form of the verb. So he can place the guitar, he can play the guitar. Alright? He can play the guitar. So such mistakes should be prevented. Let's see the next one. The second one was too easy. She might can come to the party. So did you observe something? That there are two modal verbs in one sentence. Did you observe which one? Which ones? Might and can. She might come to the party. So might should come. We should keep might only there, or can. She can come to the party or she might come to the party. There is a less possibility. So might would be the possible, would be the suitable answer here. She might come to the party. Come to the party. That was all. I hope you would have easily solved these ones if you have done those four, the fill-ups. Let us now go to the next one, which is common errors with modal verbs. So there are various common errors which we see. Modal verbs do not take to before the verb, which I have been repeating, again repeating. She can to play, She can play. So what you do is, whenever you are writing such sentences, you do not do a mistake. But you do a mistake when you write sentences using need. So you write, I need not to submit the work, which is wrong. I need not submit the work. Alright. So for those things, you have to keep this in mind, that you don't have to use to. In fact, for the verb dare also, if you are using dare as a modal verb, do not use to. Dare not you talk to me like that. So dare not to you will not be used. Alright. Let's see, do not add s to modals in the third person. So he wills go. You know that this rule is only applicable for simple present tense. For modals, we do not apply this rule. He will go simply. Let's move on to the next one of our lesson, the last slide of our lesson. So, this is a summary of our modals, that modals express ability, permission, possibility, obligation and many more things, right? Practice using modal verbs and by correctly paying attention to context. So, whenever you are using modal verbs, do remember the context in which you are using them. Do remember your tone, because your selection of modal verbs will tell that whether you wanted to have a polite request, or you wanted to express that as an obligation, or you wanted to recommend something, or you wanted to show willingness or determination. So that would decide a lot on your usage of modal verbs. Avoid common errors like using to after a modal verb or adding endings. Alright, so do not use to after your modal verbs. This is how we can avoid mistakes while doing modal verbs. So this was all from my side, and the topic of modal verbs is also very easy and it's complete. So you should practice by writing some of the sentences and deciding whether which tone you wanted to convey was conveyed in your write-up or not. So that was all. Let's wrap it up for today, and we'll meet you in the next lesson. Till then, stay curious, keep growing, keep learning. Love what you watched? Give it a thumbs up, share it with friends and subscribe for more.